Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam dear devotees, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hari Bol to Pawan Prabhuji for extensively and extendedly chanting this morning. And Hare Krishna, Hari Bol to Meenakshi Mohini and Anandini Gopika Mataji as well. Welcome back, Adi Guru Prabhu, Anandini Gopika Mataji. Hope you had a good trip back home, back to India, and hopefully we can all go back home, back to Godhead. Okay. Hare Krishna also, I think I saw Poonam Mataji, maybe this is your first time joining. So welcome.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so as always, we'll start with our Mangalacharan and then sing a Vaishnava Bhajan and then read Prabhupada Lilamrit. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, let's continue. So this week we are singing this very nice prayer glorifying our Guru Parampara, written by our spiritual great-great-grandfather, Guru Maharaj of our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So this is the Guru Parampara song. So we will sing this again. I can sing today, and then we'll read the translation. We're singing it in the same melody as Vrindavan Ramya Sthana. Krishna hoite chaturmukha hoye Krishna sevonmukha Brahma hoite naradira mati Narada hoite vyas madhva kohe vyas das Purna pragya padmanabha gati Narhari Madhava Vamshi Akshobhya Paramahamse Shishya Boli Angikara Kore Akshobhera Shishya Jaya Tirthaname Parichaya Taradasi Jnana Sindhu Tore Taha hoite dayanidhi taradasa vidyanidhi Rajendra hoilo taha haite Tahara kinkora jaya dharma name parichaya Parampara jano bhalo mate Jaya Dharma Dasi Khyati Shri Purushottama Jati Taha Haite Brahmanya Tirtha Suri Vyasa Tirtha Taradasa Lakshmi Pati Vyasa Dasa Taha Haite Madhavendra Puri Madhavendra Puri Bara Shishya Bara Shri Ishvara Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu Ishvara Puri Ke Dhanya Kori Lena Shri Chaitanya Jagada Guru Gaura Maha Prabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya Rupanuga Janera Jivana Vishvambhara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahajana Jiva Raghunataya Tara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa कृष्णदास प्रिय बड़ नरोत्तम सेवा पर जारपद विश्वनाथ आश विश्वनाथ भक्त साथ बलदेव जगन्नाथ तारा प्रिय श्री भक्ति विनोद महाभागवत बर श्री गौर किशोर बर हरि भजन तेजारा मोद इहार परमहंस गौरङ्गेरा निज वंश तादेर चरणे मम गति आमी सेव उदासीन नामे ते त्रिदण्डी दीन श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती श्रीवर्षभानवीवार सदा सेव्य सेवा पार ताहर दयित दास नाम तारा प्रधान प्रचारको श्री भक्ति वेदांत नामो पतित जनिते धोया धाम हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर की जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Okay, anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Yes, Amrish Prabhu. Yes.
In the beginning of creation, the science of devotional service was received by the four-headed Brahma from the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Devarsi Narada's understanding of this divine science was obtained from Brahma. The great sage Krishna Dvaipanya Vyasa, who was empowered to compile the Vedic literatures, became a disciple of Devarsi Narad. Sripad Madhvacharya, the founder of the Dvaita school of Vedanta philosophy, who visited Vyasadeva at Kasram in the 13th century to learn from him Vedanta philosophy, calls himself a servant of Krishna Dvaipanya Vyasa. Purna Pranja Tirtha is the guru and sole refuge of Padmanabh Tirtha. The two other principal disciples of Madhava are Narhari Tirtha and Madhava Tirtha. Madhava Tirtha accepted the great Paramhansa Akshobhya Tirtha as a disciple. The principal disciple of Akshobhya Tirtha was known as Jaya Tirtha. Jaya Tirtha's service was for his disciple Jnana-Sindhu. Dayanidhi received the signs of devotional service from Jnana-Sindhu, and the servant of Dayanidhi was Vidyanidhi, Vidyadhiraja Tirtha. Rajendra Tirtha became a disciple of Vidyadhiraja Tirtha. Rajendra Tirtha's servant was known as Jayadharma or Vijayadhwaja Tirtha. In this way, you should properly understand this disciple succession. The great sannyasi Sri Purushottama Tirtha received his knowledge in the service of his guru, Vijayadhwaja Tirtha, Jayadharma. The principal disciple of Purushottama Tirtha was Subramanya Tirtha. His servant was the great Vyasatirtha Vyasaraya. Vyasatirtha's servant was Lakshmipati Tirtha, whose disciple was Madhavendra Puri Goswami. The chief disciple of Madhavendra Puri was Ishwara Puri, and two of his other disciples were the renowned incarnations of Godhead, Sri Nityananda and Advaita Acharya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the spiritual preceptor of all the worlds, all the worlds, made Ishwari Puri greatly fortunate by accepting him as his spiritual master. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya is non-different from Sri Radha and Krishna and is the very life of those Vaishnavas who follow Sri Rupa Goswami. Sri Swarupa Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami were the givers of great happiness to Viswambara Sri Chaitanya. The great souls Jiva Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami became very dear to Rupa Goswami. Jiva Goswami was a disciple of Rupa Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, disciple of Advaita Acharya's disciple Yadunanda Acharya, was accepted by Rupa and Sanatan as their third brother. Raghunath Das Goswami's beloved student was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Krishnadas Kaviraj was an intimate friend of Lokanath Goswami. They lived together in Vrindavan and always discussed the topics of Krishna with one another. Lokanath Goswami, disciple of Gadadhara Pandita, had only one disciple, whose name was Narottam Das. Narottam Das was always engaged in the service of his guru, and he also engaged himself in the service of his guru's intimate friend. Thus, he became very dear to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. To serve the feet of Narottam Das Thakur was the only desire of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who was the fourth Acharyan disciple succession from Narottam Das. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was the Siksha Guru, instructing spiritual master of Baladeva Vidya Bhushana, to whom he taught the precepts of Srimad Bhagavatam. Jagannath Das Babaji was a very prominent Acharya after Sri Baladev Vidya Bhushana and was the beloved Siksha Guru of Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur's intimate friend and associate was the eminent Mahabhagavata Sri Gaurakishar Das Babaji, whose sole joy was found in Hari Bhajan. These three saintly Vaishnavas are the Paramahansas, or devotees of the highest order, and they are all part of Lord Gauranga's own spiritual family. Their holy feet are my refuge. I have no real interest in devotional services, and I'm a poor and lowly Tridandi Sanyai named Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. The renowned Sri Varsabhanavi Daityadasa, the initiated name of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, is always engaged in the service of his spiritual master, Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji. His foremost disciple preacher is Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has spread the message of Lord Chaitanya throughout the world and is thus a reservoir of mercy and compassion for all fallen souls.
Haribol, Hare
Haribol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anything that resonated with you from this prayer, from the translation that you read, Amrish Prabhu?
I think the Guru Bhakti and the succession, I think it's been the traditional Hindu, and everyone in life needs a guru for their margdarshan, and I think it's kind of tradition. So many years has been following, and we're kind of reminding ourselves that this is how the life of a person should be, and then everyone should have a guru, starting from our career to our spiritual. So it's kind of the summary that I'm taking. So
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, even in our material education, we went to school, we had gurus, right? We learned from our teachers. The teachers, of course, had learned from their teachers.
Yeah.
And those teachers had learned. So it's all coming in the parampara. Even in material education, we cannot just sit at home and study and become expert, right? We have to go to a qualified, accredited institution, learn from a bona fide, instructor who has practiced that science, right? And then we get our degrees. So similarly, spiritual journey also, we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and then we can learn. Yeah, this all is there in Bhagavad Gita, even introduction, the whole, this Guru Parampara that we just read, the song, it's there at the end of our uh, Bhagavad Gita. So here at the end, Prabhupada has mentioned this whole disciplic succession that we just sang about, starting from Sri Krishna to Brahma, to Narada, to Vyasa, to Madhva, Acharya. So these are the top, the first five, and then the whole parampara is here. And then, of course, more recently, the last 600, 700 years, we've had Madhvendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, who's the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya started this congregational chanting that gave us the treasure of Harinam. We can achieve pure love of Godhead just by chanting the holy names. And that treasure was opened by Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu for us. And then his disciples, the Goswamis, and then these acharyas whose songs we sing every morning, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan. And then more recently, in the last couple of 100 years, we've had Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaura Das Abadi Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and most recently our own beloved A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and his disciples, whose book or compilation now we are reading in the form of Prabhupada Lilamrit. So let's continue. Yesterday we finished up to chapter 24. We saw again how Prabhupada was saying the same thing, what we just said about Guru Parampara, that it's not important. Physical presence is immaterial, he was saying. The transcendental sound that we have received from the Parampara can help us go back home, back to Godhead. So we just need to have firm faith in the instructions of our Guru, Sri Guru, and follow the process that has been prescribed by the Acharyas. And then, they are there, their energy, their blessings are always there with us, in the form of transcendental sound vibration. So that was the theme yesterday, and Prabhupada installed the Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra deities in New Jagannath Puri in California. So now he has 2 centers in New York and in San Francisco, California. Okay, let's continue. Chapter 25. Our master has not finished his work. After the 5.5-hour jet flight, Prabhupada spoke of a blockading in his ears, but he seemed all right. He didn't rest, but went straight through the festive airport reception into 3 hours of strong lecturing and chanting in the storefront at 22nd Avenue. In the temple, speaking from a new dais behind a velvet-covered lectern, Prabhupada said, "In my absence, things have improved." Prabhupada made a more important observation. His disciples, despite the physical absence of their spiritual master, had made progress by following his instructions. Prabhupada explained how one obtained expertise in Krishna consciousness by submissively following the spiritual master. Satsvarupa came in to show Prabhupada the latest typed manuscripts for teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Jadurani continued painting in the outer room of Prabhupada's apartment. She asked him, "How is Lord Vishnu situated in the heart?" She asked, "Is he sitting or standing or what?" Prabhupada said, "He's standing." To another question as to how one person goes to Krishna while another does not, Srila Prabhupada said, "It is about utilizing one's free will properly." One by one, Prabhupada saw all his old New York followers. Gargamuni, the temple treasurer, Rai Ram, the editor of Back to Godhead, and Rupanuga, who had done a good job but was having difficulty convincing his wife about Krishna consciousness. Even Mr. Chute, the landlord, dropped by with complaints about the boy's behavior. There were signs that Prabhupada should be cautious about his health. When Srila Prabhupada mentioned his preference for the Ayurvedic medical treatments available in India, some of the devotees suggested they bring a doctor from India. Prabhupada was admitted in hospital for a few days, and then he went to a cottage near the beach to take rest and recuperate his health. When Prabhupada arrived at his cottage in Long Branch, he had Kirtananda immediately begin cooking lunch. It would be Prabhupada's first regular hot meal: rice, dal, chapatis, sabji, since his stroke 9 days ago. Prabhupada had written back asking if an Ayurvedic physician could be sent to America, but the proposal seemed impractical. It would be better for Prabhupada to go to India. To the devotees in New York, having a married couple take care of Swamiji seemed the best arrangement, and Govindadasi and Gaurasundara had been available. These were external reasons, but Govindadasi understood that Krishna was fulfilling her desire. As Prabhupada sat one morning with Kirtanananda, Gaurasundara, Satswarupa, Govindadasi, and Jadurani on a blanket spread on the sand, he noticed some boys with surfboards trying to ride the waves. They think this is bliss playing in the water, he said. Actually, there is some bliss there, but it is not Ananda, the bliss of the spiritual world. Prabhupada stayed in Long Branch for 3 weeks. But when Sri Krishna Pandit wrote saying that he couldn't arrange for an Ayurvedic doctor to come to America, Prabhupada began to think more seriously about going back to India. In India, he could get sunshine and Ayurvedic treatment. At the age of at the end of June, he returned to 26 Second Avenue and to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor was surprised at Swamiji's recovery and had no objection to his flying to San Francisco. So, in search of sunny skies and eager to guide his followers in performing the first Rath Yatra, Prabhupada had airline tickets booked for himself and Kirtananda to San Francisco, New Jagannath Puri. Chapter 26, Swamiji's departure. At the San Francisco airport, Prabhupada smiled, but said little as the devotees greeted him with flowers and kirtan. It was different this time. He walked straight ahead with the aid of a cane. Jayananda was waiting with a station wagon to drive Prabhupada to the private house they had rented north of the city at Stinson Beach. But first, Prabhupada said, he wanted to visit the San Francisco Radhakrishna temple. Jayananda drove to 518 Frederick Street. Prabhupada got out of the car and entered the small storefront, which was filled with waiting devotees and guests. He bowed before the smiling Jagannath deities and without speaking a word left the room, returned to the car and departed for Stinson Beach. The ride up through the seaside cliffs was so that Prabhupada became nauseated and even lying down in the back seat didn't help much. The devotees agreed that only Kirtananda and Upendra would stay and serve Swamiji. They wanted Swamiji's stay to be peaceful so that his health could improve. That night, Srila Prabhupada felt pain in his heart and couldn't sleep. And he didn't rise early for translating. At 5 a.m., Kirtananda came in and opened the window slightly so that Prabhupada could receive the soft ocean breeze. Prabhupada sat up in his bed, chanting his japa and gazing at the feet of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Ever since Prabhupada's stroke, Kirtananda had been regularly massaging Prabhupada morning and evening. This is the arrival at San Francisco airport. Prabhupada smiled but said little as the devotees greeted him with flowers and kirtan. It was different this time. He went down for a walk on the beach, accompanied by Kirtananda and Upendra. As Prabhupada walked on the beach, he pointed his cane towards some bubbles in the sand. Just see, he said, there are living entities everywhere. There is no place without living entities, and yet they say there is no life on the moon. Even in the evening, Prabhupada called Kirtananda and Upendra into the large living room and led them in a subdued kirtan, singing Hare Krishna and Govinda Jai Jai. He stood and led them in a large circle around the room. He would stop before the picture of Krishna, bow slightly with folded palms, turn around, and then continue in the circle. On July 8th, after Prabhupada had been at Paradiso for 2 days, Shyamsundar and Mukunda drove up from San Francisco. The next day was to be Rath Yatra. Srila Prabhupada had first gotten the idea for the festival while looking out the window of his room. Noticing flatbed trucks passing below, he thought of putting Jagannath deities on the back of such a truck and conducting an American-style Rath Yatra festival. Mukunda said the devotees planned to have Jagannath under the canopy facing the right side of the truck, Subhadra facing the rear, and Balaram facing the left side. When the devotees asked what else they should do, Prabhupada said that this was all a procession, prasadam distribution, and kirtan. The people should get a chance to see Lord Jagannath and chant Hare Krishna. There should be chanting and dancing in front of the cart throughout the procession. But do everything nicely, Prabhupada said. Do it as well as you can, and Lord Jagannath will be satisfied. Next day was Rath Yatra. Suddenly, Prabhupada heard the familiar ringing of cymbals and he became very happy, his eyes widening. Looking outside, he saw the Rath Yatra truck and with Lord Jagannath, Subhadra and Balaram and dozens of devotees and hippies eager to see him. He went out to greet them and had them bring the deities inside. Devotees and guests followed, filling the large living room. Smiling, Prabhupada embraced some of the men while others made obeisances at his feet. Some devotees helped Kirtananda in the kitchen get ready to distribute the large feast he had prepared. Others reported on the success of the Rath Yatra festival. Prabhupada felt satisfied that his disciples had successfully held a Rath Yatra festival. Although untrained, they were sincere. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Bhakti Vinod Thakur would have been pleased to see the first American Rath Yatra. Devotees were planning to go to various places to open a Krishna conscious center there. Rupanuga in Buffalo, Subila in Santa Fe, and Dayananda in Los Angeles. Hare Krishna mantra is like a big cannon, he told them. Go and sound this cannon so everyone can hear it, and it will drive away Maya. On another occasion, Prabhupada explained that non devotees who misled the innocent public are demons. Can demons become devotees? Kirtananda asked. Oh, yes, Prabhupada answered. If they chant Hare Krishna and render service, even demons become devotees. Prabhupada said that he would initiate the new followers in San Francisco without performing any fire ceremonies when the follower promised following the four regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds. Prabhupada initiated him, sitting on the bed while the disciples sat before him on the floor. Prabhupada would chant quietly on the disciples' beads and then give him or her a spiritual name. Srila Prabhupada decided to go to India and came for darshan to the storefront. He said, I have a few children in India from my family days. He said, but you are my real children. Now I am going to India for a little while. He initiated few more devotees who were keen to get initiation and sent a letter to New York announcing his travel to India. Accompanied by Kirtananda, Prabhupada walked slowly towards the gate. Prabhupada turned to his adoring followers, gathered close around him at the boarding gate. Actually, I have only one desire, and whoever does this will please me very much. He told them to remain in Krishna consciousness and to please preach. He disappeared from view. The devotees ran for the observation deck to get a last look at his departing plane. The devotees continued to chant Hare Krishna until the plane left the ground, became a speck in the sky, and then disappeared. End of chapter 26. Okay, we'll pause here for today. We can take some reflections, any comments, but yeah, a lot of these things we read in the original reading. Again, like Prabhupada is saying here that he has only one desire that will please him very much, is if we remain in Krishna consciousness and just continue to preach, continue to follow the instructions. And that is why it's very important that these days, especially again in the age of the digital age and social media and everything, people, like Prabhupada used to say this famous quote that, don't be surprised by how many come and don't be surprised by how many go. Be surprised by how many stay, right? So, because our minds are so fickle, like Arjuna tells Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Chanchalam Himana Krishna. The mind just wants to run from one thing to another, right? So even in spiritual life, you come to something, and after a while, you want to run away to something else, and then you want to run away to something else, and you want to run away to something else, right? We just don't want to stay in one place. That is why doing this japa, sitting in one posture, in the morning, and chanting is the most difficult service to do. Even kirtan is easy because we have mridanga, kartal, we have so many musical instruments, we can sing, we can dance, we can do different steps in the dance, right? So our mind needs that. Mind needs variety. So even kirtan becomes easier. But doing japa in the morning, sitting in one posture, meditating, stilling our mind, because the mind just wants to run everywhere, but just keeping it still, focused, and surrendered at the lotus feet of Shri Radha Krishna on our Shri Guru Parampara. Meditating is so difficult. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that don't leave Krishna consciousness. Just because, and that's why one thing that some of the Prabhupada disciples now and our current Guru Varga, they also make sure they mention that when people are getting initiated, like His Holiness Bhakti Ashraf Vaishnava Maharaj, he specifically asks people that that the four regulative principles, that of the no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no leaving ISKCON. Another thing is that don't leave ISKCON at any condition. So that should be another important criteria, and that's what Prabhupada is also teaching us here. So it's coming from the parampara. Even my Guru Maharaj in his final 10 instructions has mentioned that specifically, that no matter what happens, we should not leave ISKCON, because we are leaving ISKCON, we are leaving the shelter, leaving the guidance and shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So that we have taken initiation, those who have taken initiation, and those who are aspiring to take initiation. Yes, we should show our um, surrender, by staying connected to the mission of Srila Prabhupada, and then serving in whatever ability we have. Like other day when we were in Columbus, Amarendra Prabhu was saying, it doesn't matter what service we do. The most insignificant service is actually the most significant service in the eyes of of the Lord. So if somebody does the most insignificant service or somebody does the most significant service, both are equally equal in the vision of the Lord. So we should never compare and contrast that, oh, he's doing so much and oh, she's doing only this much. Even the most insignificant servant, is the most significant servant for the Lord. So it doesn't matter what service we are doing according to our own abilities. Everybody is empowered differently. So somebody likes to do cooking, somebody likes to do cleaning, somebody likes to chant, somebody likes to dance, somebody likes to decorate. All the services are equal, and we should never compare and contrast as to who is doing what. As long as they are sincerely serving, all of those are glorious in the eyes of our Guru Parampara. So those are very important instructions by Srila Prabhupada. And last night only before going to bed, before in the evening, I was watching a video of Prabhupada, and he was exactly this theme that, he was Jagannath Puri, the new Jagannath Puri in California, after installing these deities and performing Rath Yatra. He was saying the same thing, in that lecture. He was saying that we can see Krishna face to face. Only thing that is needed is to cleanse our consciousness, and that can be cleansed by chanting the holy names. So he was referring to the Shikshashtakam prayers, Chetodarpanamarjam, the first verse by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he says that first installment of the mercy of the Lord that we will see is cleansing of our heart. As soon as we start chanting, Chetodarpanamarjam, our heart will be cleansed of all the impurities, the dust, and then Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam, our desires for material sense gratification will slowly start reducing. That will be the next thing, right? And we'll start having more bliss, like Prabhupada saying, Ananda, these kids who are surfing in the ocean, he said they're enjoying some happiness, but that is not the true bliss. The true bliss, Ananda, is from the spiritual world. So this is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. The material world's ocean only rises to a certain height, but the spiritual ocean, when it rises in our hearts, it just goes on rising unlimitedly. It can go on and on and on and on until we reach the spiritual abode, back home, back to Godhead in Golok Vrindavan. So that is the height of the spiritual ocean. That is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Purnamrita Sadhanam, Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So this is the topmost benediction that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us in form of chanting of the holy names. So yeah, wonderful. And with that, we can see Prabhupada says we just need to develop that love, just like our eyes that are blinded or somebody has cataract has to be operated of the cataract before they can see. Similarly, our eyes, material eyes, are blinded by material desires. And by chanting of the holy names, as the Chitta Shuddhi happens, our eyes will become anointed with love of Godhead. And with that, those eyes we can actually have darshan of the Lord, even while we are here in this material world. Because for a devotee, for a pure devotee of the Lord, wherever they are, it is Vrindavan, and they have darshan of the Lord in the core of their hearts. So that was the message that Srila Prabhupada was giving. And that is again the message of our entire Guru Parampara. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, reflections?
Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna, Dalil
Interesting.
Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your response.
Sorry, your voice is very low. Can you speak a little loudly or closer to your phone?
Let me take it my
It's kind of sounding a little muffled.
Is it audible?
Yes, much better. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you, Prabhu. Just explaining everything. One thing I can add is association is very important, along with your chanting or deity service or book reading and all. So, if you'll practice at home, yes, it will be effective, but not that much along with the association. So association is very important because my personal experience, right? 2017, I joined ISKCON. I went to the Springdale Center. I could not connect because I didn't have right association. But when I went just 2 years back, again, maybe Krishna's mercy has come to me again. Then I got good association. Then slowly, I can say I'm a little bit advancing. How much, I don't know. Krishna knows. But association is very important along with all practices. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, even when you came first time, for sure. I mean, that is all, Krishna's mercy that, that you were able to come. And then I know you went to Vrindavan many times, right? So the seed was already sown in your heart and you were connected, I would say from that time. But yes, the consistency, the regularity, that comes when you keep in the association of the devotees. And that was also one thing that I wanted to share because Amren Prabhu's request, specifically when I was talking to him, at Columbus, he mentioned that yes, this is very nice that we are coming in the morning and we are reading, and he wanted that all of us should continue to read together. Like Prabhupada, specifically, he was telling me yesterday, actually, I was talking to him, and he was mentioning that Prabhupada gave us these books, by spending whole nights, staying up. Can't we wake up in the morning and come together and read? And when we read together as a congregation, then in association of each one of us, then the bonding that we have between us improves and everything, will start manifesting slowly. So again, these are just his words that I just wanted to repeat. And I wanted to share that also with others. But since this is fresh in my mind from yesterday's discussion, I wanted to share that, So to your point about association, yes, that is very, very important. That we can all read. Yes, we can all read. We can all chant. We all are doing our own services. We can all do it independently, but that is not the point. If we come and do it together, then the Srila Prabhupada is pleased. And when he's pleased, the whole Guru Parampara is pleased and the Lord is pleased. And only our only desire is to please them, because if they are pleased, then the mercy of the Lord will come automatically. So everything that we do, if we can do in the association of devotees by cooperating with each other, that was Prabhupada's final instruction to his disciples, that your love for me will be shown by how we cooperate with each other, how we associate. There will be challenges, there will be difficulties, tests and trials will come as part of the process. Even Prabhupada had to go through that, right? Like we were saying yesterday, another thing that he shared was, Prabhupada was a pure devotee of the Lord, Nityasiddha. But he showed through his life that, he came down to our level as a human and taught us. So he made us everything relatable, right? It was not just spiritual, but it was actually, he came down and, it was like if they would have acted just as Nityasiddhas and this, and we would feel very unrelatable to them. We may only have awe and veneration, respect, but he came down to our level to make it relatable to us. He also went through all these struggles so that we can actually see that how he responded to those struggles, those challenges in his life, and then we can gain some confidence in our own lives, that when we get through some difficult situations, then we know how to actually behave in those conditions, how to never lose focus, never lose surrender to Sri Guru. So that should be our mood. So again, that is where the whole point is association. When we read Prabhupada's books, when we hear these pastimes, when we come together, we are also, moving forward in the same mood as Srila Prabhupada wanted us to, in the mood of association of devotees. And with that, we can make big progress. Thank you for sharing that, Nalin Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Okay, any other thoughts, comments? Adi Guru Prabhu, Anandini Gopika Mataji, welcome back. Anything you want to say?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. We really missed you all. We really missed your association. And to Nalan Prabhu's point, I just want to reiterate how important is this association and how fortunate we are that even in India, people are not getting this association. We think people are religious, but religion has been dissolved and hidden, the true religion, and there's a lot of of religion happening. So people, unfortunately, call it ignorance or innocence. They are following things with their full heart that are not true religion, and they don't have that devotee association. So here in Cincinnati, we are very, very fortunate, and we should take this as a privilege and not take it easily. This is very important. This is, I think, our most important treasure. And coming back from India, I so much realize that how important is our coming together in this morning a japa program, which sets up the whole day right for us. So thank you for doing that, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Thank you. Very good to see you and hear you. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you, dear devotees. We'll pause here for today and we'll continue again tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavandi ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
Leelamrit ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
More
Thank
Hare
you, Prabhuji. Have
Krishna.
a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.